Okay, we're gonna get started. So mayor's gonna come up. No? Yeah.
Thanks for of course. Getting it going. It's just so important that we're keeping meetings. Science is on. Check. Doing this and leading on this, helping lead on this. I'm standing behind. Yeah, absolutely. Our mayor wanted to be here, but she couldn't. Yeah. That's how it happens. Happy to fill in. I don't know. So you guys, if you just want to stand up after Mayor Harmon, just so we don't have to have, I don't need to MC that, you know, like. What do you mean stand up? When Mayor Harmon's there, if you just want to step in. Oh, step in, that's fine. I I don't want you to MC. Do we push you away, or? Yeah. Let me know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem for a bunch of mayors. Here, yeah.
All right, ready to get started.
All right. Well, good morning. Thank you for taking your equipment through the snow this morning to get here and for everyone to show up through the snowstorm. My name is Patrick Hanlon. I'm the mayor of the city of Hopkins, and I am part of the Cities for Safe and Stable Communities Coalition. Behind me are some of the wonderful mayors representing this coalition of over 20 Minnesota cities, representing over 500,000 people, those people whose strength and courage drive us to act. We have the same urgent goal, stabilizing our hometowns in the wake of Operation Metro Surge. This is a nonpartisan group of leaders. Many other mayors have stood up in this state, from Burnsville to Rochester to Wilmer, and going forward, whether it's Stillwater, St. Michael, Lakeville, Duluth, and even Hermantown up on the hill, we haven't forgotten about you. We are here for you. We're here to support you. We're Minnesotans, Americans, and nonpartisan representatives of the people first. We stand by you, and we stand by each other. I want to thank Mary Lee Abrams of Maplewood for being here, Mike Kratchmer of Vadnais Heights, Mayor Najee Mohammed, who will be here momentarily, Patsy Foster Bolton, council member of Minnetonka, Graham Allen of New Brighton, and Mary Supple, who got the ball rolling with this whole coalition. We have two, in addition to the speakers you're about to hear, we have two clear goals today. First, we expect the excess 2,000 plus federal agents left here to immediately leave, as promised. We went from 200 agents in Minnesota to 3,000 agents across our state. That's ridiculous. That's not immigration enforcement. That was an occupation of our cities. Second, we are here to rebuild. We have all seen the strength and unity of Minnesota these last few weeks ripple across the state, across the country, across the world. With the right policies, tools, and resources, these same strong communities can overcome the immense harm that's been done. From our rural towns to here in St. Paul, of course, Minneapolis, to my hometown, the city of Hopkins on Main Street. I know the mayors behind me all have similar situations. I have citizens that are afraid to go to work, including business owners themselves. Several businesses have over 50% of their workforce not showing up. We have many construction workers in my city leaving the state with construction projects left idle, rents that will go unpaid for mortgages that can't be held, and nonprofits that are over capacity right now. These masked, untrained, and unsupervised ICE agents illegally removed entire families, including young children, telling us they captured the worst of the worst when there were actually no crimes committed. These families are returned to our communities traumatized. They were terrorizing our communities, pointing guns at unarmed people on their way to work, breaking laws and breaking the fragile trust between government and its people, especially that trust in our police departments. We want to repair our residents' trust in local government and support policies this year that prevent federal overreach from happening again. And have no doubt, we will be ready if they come back. The more we are treated unfairly in our cities, the stronger we will all stand together. We'd rather see basic guardrails implemented to ensure accountability to the rule of law and focus our efforts there. The coalition's primary legislative priority is straightforward: securing municipal aid to restore our cities to their pre-surge levels. This action is essential to recoup the immense costs to our cities, our police forces, and to be able to deliver services fiscally responsibly to our cities to repair from economic damage. As a vital part of Minnesota's economic engine, these 20 cities require immediate stabilization to protect the state's broader economy, not just for us, but all of the cities impacted. Because local operations have not yet concluded here, we don't know the final price tag on what that true cost is. We just know that it's immense. We won't be asking for handouts. We are asking for fairness, for justice, and resources to fix a crisis we didn't create in order for us to eventually thrive again. And with that, I want to hand it over to Mayor Ron Case of Eden Prairie to detail the economic reality that's going on the ground in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hanlon. My name is Ron Case. I'm the mayor of Eden Prairie. It's good to be with all of you today. In Eden Prairie, we've lived alongside ICE enforcement for 22 years. Enforcement isn't new. What is new is the instability caused by these hostile, surge-style tactics. As Mayor Hanlon said, Operation Metro Surge affected the stability of our economies and cities. So while Operation Metro Surge may have formally ended, we can trust we need to verify, however, its economic impact continues to reverberate across Minnesota. The surge did not stay within the borders of Minneapolis and St. Paul. It spilled into our suburbs and statewide communities with immigrant populations, and the results have been devastating. This 10-week surge has put people out of business and pushed many more to the brink. We are seeing local businesses reporting losses between 50% and 100%. Our nonprofits are doing their best, but they can bridge a gap this wide only with help, and especially at the pace that things are moving. In our schools, the bottom line isn't just a budget, it's the kids. We have 600 children in Bloomington alone switching to remote learning out of fear. We have parents in Columbia Heights being detained, some while dropping off or picking up their children. This isn't just an immigration issue, it's a workforce education crisis. The effects of the surge vary city by city, but range from local business closures to overtime costs for our police officers to increase absentee rates at schools, or all the above. Schools are still trying to provide free meals for online learners and to manage logistics. The instability has also resulted in increased requests for rental assistance and food insecurity within our immigrant communities. A snapshot from just our coalition alone shows a St. Louis Park food assistant program needing $83,000 in aid. Local business down 40% in Columbia Heights. And in my town of Eden Prairie, our local food shelf nonprofit that helps with rental assistance as well is looking at a possible $100,000 shortfall. Cities have limited tools to fix our budgets. Cities of all sizes are managing pressures that began before the surge but have since greatly intensified. Operation Metro Surge has destabilized our local economies by negatively impacting our schools, our businesses, and our nonprofits. The surge has impaired our ability as mayors to address these needs of our residents and businesses. We're going to need help navigating this new post-surge world. We don't have the resources to go it alone. We'll need state aid in order to continue the work that we were elected to do, protecting and supporting every resident and every business within our communities. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor Case. I'm April Graves, Mayor of Brooklyn Center. When I took office, when we all took office, we swore an oath to the Constitution. We honor our oath by questioning directives that threaten local authority and the rights we are entrusted to protect. We are disgusted and deeply concerned about racial profiling and the violation of rights occurring in our streets. As local leaders, we are the closest level of government to the people. We are the guardians of the rule of law in our communities. We need to know exactly what the federal role is and how they plan to implement it. We don't need masked agents and violence. We need transparency and care for humanity. True safety and stability starts always at the local level. That's a truth our community has demonstrated through their courage, empathy, resilience, and unwavering calls for accountability. While we respect the role of federal immigration enforcement to follow judicial warrants and communicate with local law enforcement leadership, it cannot ever come at the expense of constitutional standards we are sworn to protect. When federal agencies operate without considering local jurisdiction, it creates a vacuum of accountability that leaves our residents vulnerable to persecution. In Brooklyn Center, some businesses have had to close. Others have had to keep their doors locked and request escorts for their employees to safely leave work at the end of the day. Residents have contacted me with reports of masked men on the streets harassing their neighbors and suspicious cars idling at children's bus stops. When I ask for information on what is happening from my police department, I can't get any answers because they have no information that's been shared with them. This session, this coalition of mayors are supporting common sense policy protections, including reinstating sensitive location status for places of worship, hospitals, and schools, prohibiting mass agents during local operations, and stopping arrests for civil offenses at our courthouses. Federal overreach has deepened already existing trust deficits in our community. We must earn back that trust by focusing on solutions that serve our people, protect their constitutional rights, and restore confidence in local leadership. I will turn it over now to Mayor Harmon from Golden Valley.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Rosalind Harmon, Mayor of Golden Valley, and outside of City Hall, I serve as an executive director with a background in mental health and restorative practices, specializing in mediation and community-based healing. My work focuses on accountability and rebuilding trust. The same foundation our public safety systems depend on. Collectively, we partner with families and communities to repair harm and heal from trauma. And it's an honor to be here today, standing alongside my colleagues on behalf of all that is happening. This type of instability and government overreach has effects well past the surge's ending. The very systems designed to serve and protect our residents have failed. This uncoordinated federal action undermined the progress many communities have worked to make in strengthening relationships between residents and local law enforcement. Relationships that are essential for effective policing. Accountability for every agency operating on our streets is a prerequisite for public safety. A city cannot function when residents are too afraid to go to work, shop for groceries, go to school, or call for help when something is wrong. The emotional and mental toll and the deepened distrust, particularly in communities of color, will outlast any increased federal presence here. When residents are afraid to contact law enforcement because they cannot tell the difference between a local officer and a federal agent, our entire safety net begins to collapse. Let me be clear. We all are very proud of how Minnesotans have stepped up to support their neighbors. Very proud. But resiliency should not be an excuse for the state to look the other way. As the late Reverend Jesse Jackson reminded us, we must heal the wounds of the past, not hide them. Now is the time to repair the harm so our communities can begin to heal. Municipal aid will allow us to reinvest in stabilization efforts and community policing initiatives needed to rebuild confidence and keep our residents safe. And now I will pass it along to Mayor Winston.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, mayors, for standing up here. So I'm Hollis Winston, Mayor of the City of Brooklyn Park. Our community has felt the full weight of this surge. Now, our police chief is one of the first to speak out because he saw firsthand the infringement on the constitutional rights of our residents, which is why he asked federal law enforcement to de-escalate behavior and hold themselves accountable to the same constitutional norms and standards our own police do within the City of Brooklyn Park. Now, the effect of this surge is it has forced cities to spend unsustainably on overtime and other key public safety services. Within our City of Brooklyn Park, we've accrued close to 250 hours of overtime just this year within our police department alone. For a modest city with a modest budget, this is unsustainable. We've also suffered an unsustainable loss of business within our city. So when we have gone to businesses large and small across our city, many have sustained losses of 50 to 75% of sales or revenue. Some simply are not able to offer services that we need within the City of Brooklyn Park. And additionally, some are simply flirting with closing their doors and going out of business. For us and across the state, this represents a loss of jobs. It represents a loss of generational wealth. It represents hunger that families are dealing with right now. And it represents a threat to long-term community and family stability. Now, cities have not stood idly by while this has happened. Within our own City of Brooklyn Park, I believe we've allocated over $500,000 to help cities, to help some of these businesses recover, but also families that are truly in need. Now, we've had to tap into our reserves to do that, but going beyond our reserves, again, is unsustainable. And listen, we're just one city looking to prevent deep, irreversible economic and civic harm. But I want to say, thankfully, we are amongst a nonpartisan coalition of 20 cities with a clear understanding that speaking as one unified voice carries greater weight than any city speaking or acting alone. Now, we're not here to simply discuss the negative impacts of the surge. We are here to move forward. Now, we have shown a commitment to redirecting economic and public safety resources back to core community needs. As our strongest partner, we need the state of Minnesota to acknowledge the economic harm done to our workforce and our families, and we need them to act now, and we need them to act with urgency. No municipal budget across the state, large or small, can absorb this kind of disruption without consequence to public safety and long-term economic health. If actions taken elsewhere ripple into our communities, there must be a clear framework to express the impact quickly and with responsible guardrails. Now, lastly, to move forward, our Minnesota economy is built on trust, as is the vast majority of business. But here, trust requires verification. Verification requires clear communication from state and federal leaders about how and when this drawdown is occurring. Without that certainty, economic activity freezes. Workers hesitate, consumers stay home, and investment pauses, or it simply dries up. That impact spreads beyond the metro and into suburbs and across the state of Minnesota. Now, to summarize, across Minnesota, municipalities require economic aid to recoup costs, legislative guardrails to prevent overreach from happening again, resources to strengthen trust in local government, and verifiable proof to be shared with residents of a drawdown and de-escalation so that our economy and families can heal, prosper, and feel safe within this great state of Minnesota. Now, we are 20 strong and growing, but most importantly, we're looking forward to helping to lead this recovery. Thank you.
Thank you, mayors. Again, thank you for all of your support. As cities our size, having a coalition like this is so important that we can stand together. So thank you all. With that, I think we can take some questions if there are any in the press here.
Can you elaborate on the costs that cities have incurred dealing with the surge? I know you mentioned police overtime, but are there other police costs, administrative costs that cities have seen?
Simple answer is yes. At the beginning, I said we're not quite sure the total scope of what all those costs are because they haven't left yet, or that we know of. And so we're trying to get an understanding of what our police costs are, as you mentioned, administrative costs, and then also the costs of all of our local partners. Each city works differently in how we work with our partners in our city, as Mayor Winston pointed out in his community. And so it's going to look different in every city and how we work with our partners. And we know the costs are immense. Working with our local nonprofits, they are over capacity in meeting all the needs that were mentioned up here.
Is that something you all are tracking, just the cost of each city is incurring?
That's part of us coming together and sharing our stories together as we've done here today. We are meeting on a regular basis and to share those stories and to pull together what that picture looks like and then talk with our legislators to talk about what those needs are.
And then can you elaborate on the request for economic aid, what that might look like, any sort of specifics on that?
We don't have a specific number at this point. We're like I said, we're trying to put that picture together and what that need. We know it's immense. We don't know the exact number. Thank you.
Have you been in contact with any of your legislators here at the Capitol to get a feel for, start the communication?
Yeah, I don't mean to take all the questions here, but yeah. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say we actually had a work session and public meeting with all of our legislative delegation, and I think this was, my city manager was back there, but I think it was about a month ago. So we have been on top of this. They were very understanding of what we're going through, and I think they understand that there's a real urgency here for economic aid, but also to put some guardrails in so that this does not occur again. That is also what began pushing a number of these us and other cities to begin collecting this data so that we have a good understanding of what these costs are. And I want to caution people, this is not just public safety costs. There's other costs that are accruing here as well, because we need to understand the impact on businesses, within families. I think mental health was spoken to, even within our alternative response team within Brooklyn Park, which also pushes down crime as well. So all of those is going to take a while to get our arms around that, but there has to be an urgency here to address these issues. We do not want to get too far down the road, because then we're dealing with some bigger issues as cities.
Any other questions? I think mayors are used to leaving awkward space for questions if anyone has any. Yeah. Okay, thank you all for.
I was just going to say, could I add one thing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've heard from a lot of mayors that the feeling right now is what we were feeling back in post-COVID with some of the financial hits that we were taking as a state, as communities. The difference we fear this time is after COVID, we had quite a bit of federal intervention, federal money. We're not that optimistic. I'm sure we'll request, we can hope. But without federal help, then it all falls back on states and all falls back on communities. But I just want to emphasize that this has a really strong feeling like what we went through 4 to 5 years ago as cities. And so that makes us both nervous, optimistic as communities that we can rise to this occasion as well. But we're really going to be relying on state help, particularly if there's not any federal money coming.